Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's Yin practice. A few props that will be handy for today. I would suggest having a bolster or any kind of a plump pillow, maybe a hard block, and then a strap or something that's kind of strap-like. And then I'll invite you to get started in a restorative fish pose. So for this one, you can place your bolster lengthwise on the mat, and then I'm going to use the hard block just at the end of it. And come to sitting down just in front of your prop, and then lower the spine down onto it. Now, if it feels like a particularly plump bolster, it might feel kind of steep for the low back. So if you find that's the case, just bring an extra pillow out underneath the bum. And then the block is there if you happen to be like a little bit taller and the bolster is not quite long enough. It might help support the head a little better. So just make sure that the shape feels good in your body. At any point, you can remove the bolster. And then find an arm expression to match. So arms can be anywhere beside you. You can have them on the body, somewhere beside it or overhead. Just make sure that the shoulders stay quiet as well. Awesome. And then the same for the legs. Any comfortable expression. So legs can be extended, easy pose, butterfly legs. And taking your time to settle in. Noticing the body, following the breath. And see if you'd benefit from a little more time in this shape, and you're welcome to stay. Otherwise, when you feel ready to, you can bend the knees from wherever they are, and then roll to one side just enough that you can slide your props out of the way. And then we'll come to lying flat on the back. Extending the legs long down the mat, and then the arms long up the mat. And keeping the pelvis where it is, walk the feet towards the bottom right, and then the arms towards the top right until you're in a banana shape, a crescent moon shape. The option is there to cross the left ankle over right, maybe left wrist over right. You could also bend the elbows if that feels better for you. Sometimes turning the head a little differently can make this feel better in the shoulders. Notice if that left side of the body is trying to lift up off the floor, and see if you can keep it grounded. And find that stretch from the left ankle all the way up to the left elbow. And slowly walk the arms back to center and walk the legs back to center. Maybe a little rock for the head here, a little wiggle for the hips. And when you're ready, we'll set for the second side, so you can take the feet towards the bottom left now and the arms towards the top left. And see, this side may need something a little different, so feel free to change up the expression or to add some props in. Settling in, keeping that right side of the body heavy and breathing into that stretch. Slowly bringing everything back to center once again. From here, collecting the knees into the chest, and you can take the arms to the knees. Give yourself a rock side to side. Maybe the rocking evolves into some circling through the low back. Maybe 5 rounds one direction and then 5 for the other. Awesome. And then with the knees in the chest, hands behind the knees, start to rock up and down the length of the spine. Mindful of the neck here. You can do this a few times, massaging out the back. Awesome. When you feel ready, we'll come up to a seat so you can start to build up some momentum and then make your way up when you're ready. Coming to find a comfortable seated position, I'm going to sit up off of my bolster. So cross-legged if that works for you, or if there's something else that you need, then go for it. And take a moment to settle the hips and to lengthen the spine. And from here, take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, we'll twist towards the right, maybe left hand to that right knee, maybe right hand behind you. You can use a prop if the floor is a little far away. Breathe into the length in the spine, but soften whatever you don't need here. And the next time you inhale, unravel yourself back to center. And we'll head straight to the second side. Right hand maybe to the left knee, left hand behind you. And keep the spine tall. And settle into your twist. And slowly, with an inhale, returning back to center. And giving the arms a little bit of movement. If the legs need a little shake out, then go for it. And come back to a comfortable position. And if the legs were crossed one way, you might switch the cross to the opposite side. So from here, a strap will be handy. And you can reach strap to the right hand, reach the right arm towards the ceiling, and then bend the elbow so hand is kind of behind the neck. Left arm reaches to the left with the thumb pointing down, and then bend that elbow to catch the other end of the strap. Now you might have space that you can walk the hands a little closer together, and maybe the hands connecting, you don't need the strap. But notice as you brought the hands closer together, if that made you cave in at all, then maybe a little more slack will serve you better. Notice as well, make sure that the shoulders both stay quiet, the neck, the upper back, and maybe close down the eyes. If you're using a strap, you can keep holding it with the left hand. Gently release the strap from the right hand. Bring the arms to center, and again, maybe a little movement for the arms or the shoulders here. And when you feel ready, we'll set the second side. So right arm reaches towards the ceiling, bend the elbow, the strap dangles behind you. Right arm to the right, thumb down, and bend the elbow to catch the other end. We do tend to have a side that is a little more open than the other, so don't worry if it ends up looking different to the first side. Maybe look for a similar sensation in the body. It is possible as well that this side the shape just doesn't work, so you're welcome to do either or. Maybe you're doing the half version, so just the one arm or just the other. And when you do feel ready, settle yourself in. Maybe close down the eyes and breathe here. Moving slowly, gently, release the left hand. Release the right arm, lowering the strap to the floor. Give the arms a little movement, or if what you need is stillness, choose that. And take a couple breaths wherever you need to be. All right, releasing the arms back to the lap when you're ready. And from here, lengthen the spine and then dip the right ear towards the right shoulder, finding a stretch through the left side of the neck. And then one more thing that we're going to add on with the left hand. So tuck the left thumb into the other four fingers, and then reach that left arm towards the left, and then see what it feels like to reach the thumb knuckle away from you. And the hand can stay hovering, or maybe it's touching the floor. And this may feel like plenty here, breathing that stretch with that whole left side. If you like to add on a little more sensation, you could also take the right hand to the head without pulling, just adding a little extra weight there. Gently release the right hand down, coming back to center. Release the left hand as well. And see what feels good here. Maybe a rock of the head side to side. And we'll set up for the second side. So tall spine to begin, left ear towards the left shoulder. And tuck the right thumb into the right forefingers, reaching right arm towards the right, reaching the thumb knuckle away from you. And you can stay here, or maybe you're taking the left hand to the head, adding that extra weight. And breathing into that stretch from the right shoulder all the way up to the right ear, maybe through the right forearm as well. Slowly coming out of the shape. Coming to center and just taking a few breaths, releasing in any way that you need. Might be rocking the head, maybe some movement through the wrist. And then we'll set up our next shape. So for this one, butterfly shape, so you can take the feet nice and wide apart, or the feet together, the knees nice and wide apart. If you're sitting up on your prop and you're happy here, then that's a good place to stay. One other variation would be to come off of your prop, but then use the prop underneath the knees. So you choose whatever feels best for you. If you still like to be sitting up off something, then go for it. So your version of a butterfly, there may be a little distance between the feet and the pelvis, but you can adjust that as well. And then from here, we're going to round inwards, so chin towards the chest. And you can start to round from the upper back. Imagine that the head is really heavy. And we're looking for a stretch through the back line of the body, through the spine, especially through the upper spine. So one option, if you'd like to add on, as long as everything is quiet in head, neck, and shoulders, you might interlace the hands behind the skull. And without adding, or without pulling rather, you might just add the weight of the arms and see what that feels like. If you're really enjoying the neck stretch but it doesn't work with a back bend like this, you're also welcome to come upright and just do the neck stretch if that feels better. But if butterfly and neck stretch are working well for you, then great. If at any point you need to release the arms instead, then please do that. And releasing the arms first if you still have them. Slowly unraveling the spine once again. Move nice and slow. It might feel nice to reach the arms behind you and puff up the chest for a counter stretch. It might feel nice to point the chin up towards the ceiling for a counter stretch for the neck. Maybe a little movement here, side to side. Awesome. And then if you have your props, you can move them out of the way. And keep the bolster nearby, and we're going to head down onto the back. So lowering down as you feel ready to. And just one last counter stretch for the seated postures. So with the bolster nearby, bend the knees and then lift the hips so you can slide the bolster underneath. And find somewhere that feels comfortable for you, so think about supporting the pelvis here more than anything else. And then if the shape feels good with the knees bent, then go for it. Otherwise, I want to get into the hip flexors a little bit. So you can extend the legs long down the mat. And let the legs release, let the ankles relax any way they like. And if you like to stretch through the upper body as well, you can think about reaching the arms to the floor overhead. And let the body get heavy here. And be with your breath. Now think about the shape that you're in and if it feels like a good place to rest in. If you feel like you'd benefit from a few more minutes in this shape, then you're welcome to stay. At any point, you are welcome to come out as well. And if you are ready to come out straight away and you'd like to find a more traditional Shavasana shape, then go for it. You can walk the feet in and lift the hips, moving the bolster out of the way. Re-extending the legs or finding your expression, any comfortable and symmetrical shape for the body. Arms can be anywhere beside you, on the body, or overhead. If you need any extra layers or anything else, then please add those in. Take a moment to get nice and comfy. And then letting the body get heavy. And finding your rest here. And gently deepen the breath. Finding a little movement through the hands, through the feet. A rock of the head, side to side. When you feel ready to, rolling on to either side, wherever you have the most room. And maybe a pause here for a breath or two. And with the support of the hands, coming up to find a comfortable seated position and take your time for the transition. And take a moment to settle the hips, to lengthen the spine. And to check in with the body. You might connect the hands in at the heart, maybe bow the chin into the chest. And thank you for sharing your practice today. Namaste. And thank you for joining me for your yin practice. And again, my name is Nicholas. If you have any questions, please reach out and enjoy your evening.